Hello, legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 241. This podcast has been created as a means to enable my lazy and procrastinating arse to become a little bit more structured and concise and consistent in what I do. How? Well, I wanted to create some form of routine or habit that will benefit me in a way, but also will keep me in check and ensure that I do something regularly with no excuses and without negotiation. So on September 19, 2022, I started my blog, which is underpinning this podcast. The post was short, very short in fact, and immediately after I recorded a very short episode as well of the audio podcast on Spotify. At the time it was Anchor, but that platform, namely Anchor, has been bought by Spotify and now is called Spotify for Podcasters. So it started with just a text and some audio and started evolving along the way to longer posts, pictures, and longer episodes on the podcast. Episode number 241 means that it started exactly 241 days ago, because I managed to write a blog post and record the podcast episode since the first day, every day, without a single gap. But it wasn't without issues. There were days where I barely squeezed in some time to write a post or record a podcast. There were times, and I would say a long chains of me posting very close to midnight time, which caused me to go over to the night hours and staying longer, which means my sleep got affected and my energy levels were quite bad. So I committed myself about 2 weeks ago to a deadline. I set myself the deadline to write the blog post and publish it before 8 p.m. or 20:00. It went well for about a week, but then I slipped for one day, then another, and then another. And immediately I felt the impact on my energy levels and health. So I decided to get back on track, as every routine should be. So it doesn't mean that you will always complete your habits or routines, regardless if they are daily or weekly or 2-3 times a day. If you slip, you shouldn't worry about it too much in terms of telling yourself that you failed or worrying about breaking that habit. It's just a pattern that needs to be maintained, and life very often gets in the way. So I always approach it from this perspective. As long as you get back on track, it's fine. It's still a habit, it's still a routine, and you still should be proud of it. And that's what I do. So on Monday, I posted the write-up on the blog before 8 p.m. Well, before 8 p.m. I think it was 2 p.m. Then I managed to do that yesterday as well. And today it was very close, because I believe I published the post just before 8 p.m. Yeah, it shows 5:18 p.m., but it's not true. That's the time that the actual blog post got created first time and saved as a draft, I believe. So I'd say there's some other place where I can find the actual time. But the latest revision was 20 minutes ago, and we are 2014, which is exactly what I said. So the last save before publishing was at 7:56 or so, or 54. So it doesn't count the publishing probably, but it was about a minute or two later. So I managed to do that before 8 p.m, but it was close and I'm not liking it. But the post title, Bracing for Impact, means that tomorrow will be even worse. Tomorrow is a stormy day. And I repeated that to a couple of people already that are listening. For new listeners, stormy day is basically the time when I go out of house, meaning I'm not staying home and working from home, so I can't really keep up with the regular schedule, but need to adjust for that because I'm driving to Dublin 3.5 hours one way, so I immediately lose 6 to 7 hours of the day. Obviously I wake up very early and might come up a bit late to Donegal, but it's 7 hours of drive plus work, so not much space to do a lot. So it's very difficult to write the post and record the podcast episode, so I need to plan well. So that's what I'm doing straight after this video is recorded. Additionally, as a company, we used to do, prior to epidemic, we used to play football on Fridays, and it was fairly regular, but it obviously ended with the pandemic, and I think they managed to play 1 or 2 matches since, because it's very hard. People are scattered, they no longer work in the office, so tomorrow is a chance to gather people. We have enough players, so I am preparing for that as well. That means I have an hour of play plus about half an hour to an hour additionally lost because of the way to the pitch and the back, as well as a shower and just changing clothes, etc. So it will take some time, and I always rather over assess the time that I'll spend on it, because if I do it faster, then I have some spare time left, rather than overcommitting and losing time that is dear to me. So you can imagine 7 plus 2 hours roughly. I have 9 hours away from the day, and I need to squeeze in work, blog post writing, which usually takes about half an hour to 1 hour, including publishing, and then record the podcast episode, which usually takes about, regular episode, I would say on average is about 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit more, then publishing, so it's another 10-15 minutes to make sure that everything is right. That is another half an hour or so. So it's very hard to squeeze in, especially if you have a program of office day set up in advance. And if that wasn't enough, I have additional layer on top of that, which is a commitment that I need to do for 8 a.m. on Friday morning. And it's a proposal for another business that I work with, so this requires a little bit of time to finish, and it will be very, very tight tomorrow. So I won't be boring you with details today. And I'll wrap up probably in about 2-3 minutes from now. Just a quick update what happened today. Not much, but we managed to take my mother-in-law and my mother's wife basically to the beach when Julian was at home. He was at school, because the weather was great. Well, it was still cloudy, but sun was popping here and there from time to time, and it wasn't that windy. The wind was quite lukewarm, I would say, so it was very nice. And we went there. Obviously, all three of us had different agenda for that beach visit, and my mother-in-law obviously just went there for a short stroll and to enjoy the beach, get some fresh air, sit on the bench and just enjoy the sea, or the ocean actually, because, well, I keep saying sea, but we are at the shores of Atlantic Ocean. So, but my wife obviously started her regular walk, and she does a very dynamic walk, fairly good pace, and even switched to some jogging at times to kind of feel better and get more cardio out of it. And myself, I decided to just do a run, and I did. So yesterday I did 5K, and today I did 5K on the beach, and tomorrow I play football or soccer, if you prefer. And I have strange feeling that my feet and my legs will be sore tomorrow, so it will be a fun time. Outside of that, well, it was still very enjoyable because I took my shoes off, and with bare feet on that warm sand, it was an amazing run. Weather was just perfect for the run. So it was a lovely lunchtime run, and then I got back to a very busy day at work. And really, this day was quite dull otherwise, because it was focused mostly on work, not the work that I thoroughly enjoyed, so I don't want to bore you with that. Yeah, so not that much interesting today's episode, but I hope to give you something more interesting tomorrow, and I'm going to get a couple of things sorted before tomorrow's drive, because I think I got the alert from my car that the tire pressure is uneven and needs to be topped up. So I need to go to gas station and top up the air, and probably a little bit of petrol or gas, whichever region you are from and however you call it. Basically, I need to refuel to make sure that I don't need to stop along the way and get straight to Dublin. And I need to take a couple of things to get the clothes for change after soccer match. And obviously my book, notebook, and my computer, and make sure that the Mac has also the charger with me, because last time I forgot it and I barely managed to keep up on the battery. So yeah, I need to remember that. Yeah, so that's it. We are within 15 minutes. Thank you very much for coming and staying with me, whoever you are and however long you listen to that podcast. I really appreciate every soul listening to my ramblings, and I hope you stay with me. Stay tuned, and hope to talk to you tomorrow.